Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with day 29 of our 31 perfect albums. We're in the home stretch here. So, as I've said before, what the premise of this series is each of us on this wonderful panel here have picked 31 perfect albums, perfect from top to bottom, all killer, no filler. So, we are here presenting our list to you, and hopefully, by watching this, you'll discover a new artist, or maybe you'll put down in the comments. We encourage you to put down in the comments an album that you think is a perfect album. I will introduce the panel to everybody here. We have Mr. Ken Cheshire. How's it going, Ken?
Going great. How about you?
Oh, doing wonderful for a Friday morning. Doing
Yeah, I
good.
hear you.
We have Mr. Bill Schuster. How's it going, Bill?
Mondo. Back to my usual antics of no sleep after work, like we usually do. So I feel right at home.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Nothing like routine, right? And last but by no means least, Mr. Jim Bricker. How's it going, Jim?
Hello. Hello. I'm doing good, thank you. Glad to be here with all y'all.
Doing good. He's got his iced coffee, ladies and gentlemen. I've got my coffee too. We're ready to go. So we will kick off day 29 with let's go with Ken today.
Oh, okay.
Oh, break it up a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. This morning I'm jumping to October 7th, 1997 with one of my favorite groups, and that is Pat Metheny Group. The album is Imaginary Day. It's their ninth studio album. It's produced by Metheny, Lyle Mays, and Steve Rodby. This is the tour I actually got to see him in. Um, and that's I saw them in New Orleans at the House of Blues, which is 2 hours from here. And at that time, Metheny addressed the audience and said that was the first club gig that they have done in literally years. They usually do huge arenas and stuff like that in the US, which is why I've never got to see them because we don't have much of that around here. Also, Imaginary Day, there's a live performance video available on DVD or Blu-ray that's really good. I highly recommend it. Um, this album won two Grammys, one for Best Contemporary Jazz Album and the other for Best Rock Instrumental Performance for the song Roots of Coincidence, which is as wonderful as it is on the album. It is unbelievable live. Absolutely.
Okay.
And Jim, you can help me out here. How many Grammys has Metheny received?
Umpteen.
Umpteen.
Umpteen times two.
Yeah, and I've read somewhere, I don't know if it's true or not, that there were some artists in contemporary jazz that would intentionally not release an album the same year that they knew Metheny was going to, to increase their chances of getting a Grammy. Anyway, I think this was the last album with Paul Vertigo on drums, I think.
Yep,
Um, was he actually Jim, was he actually on the tour or had
he was.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Anyway, as usual, Pat Metheny just wonderfully melodic, you know, contemporary jazz with a little mixture of all kinds of styles in this album. Um, and this is one where, he plays acoustic guitars, electric guitars, the guitar synth, and a 42 string Picasso guitar, which you've got to see to believe.
I've
And
seen pictures of it. Yeah.
yeah, and the thing about it is, as a musician, musicians that I admire most are the ones that make it look easy. And holy cow, he makes it all look so easy.
Yeah.
And just nine killer songs on this album. And again, a Pat Metheny group album that, I never tire of. So if you haven't checked out Pat Metheny Group or the Pat Metheny solo albums, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
There's
Are you
no
looking at me?
Bill.
I love it.
It's actually funny that this particular album gets brought up because, Bill, we all know what a prog fan you are. This is the prog fans' gateway into the Pat Metheny Group
Good point.
because it is there's just a stylistic diversity in this album, from song to song to song, that I think will really appeal to the prog heads. I mean, not only do you have the virtuosity, but you just have the incredible diversity in timbre and color throughout. Uh, Feel, tempo, is this world music? Is this jazz? Is this metal? Yes, yes, and yes, all the way through, often in the same song. Um, yeah, the uh, Ken, you pointed out the Imaginary Day, DVD that was filmed at the old Palmason Winery in Saratoga, California.
Yeah.
They filmed that over 3 nights. I was there all 3 nights. So this album is really deep in my DNA, and I echo your nomination
Oh,
there as a perfect album for sure.
he was
Right,
there.
you should listen to it more closely, or dive into it more than I have. All right, moving on to Bill. Your pick for day 29.
All right, thank you, sir. Well, let's see. Jim just brought up that I'm a prog fan, and last week I left off with the proggiest album that Steven Wilson ever put out, "The Raven That Refused to Sing," from 2013. Now I'm
Mhm.
going completely away from prog, not even remotely close. This shirt gives a little hint,
A little hint.
but no, it's not a Pink album. Uh, this album is called Rose Avenue. It came out in 2014,
Uh-huh.
and it is a largely acoustic duet album by Dallas Green, uh, who also performs and records under the name City and Color and is also a member of the band Alex is on Fire. And his duet partner is one Alicia Moore, also known
Otherwise
as
known
Nikki.
as.
And yeah, they're known as You and Me. It looks like You plus me, but as far as I've been able to find out, it's You and Me. There's also a song on the album called You and Me where they actually write out the word and. So just to add to the confusion. This is really nothing like Pink's normal stuff that she's most popularly known for. It's really very folksy, acoustic singer songwriter type stuff that would be at home in the early 70s, but with a very modern touch. And to give you a little bit of an idea of the vibe here, uh, the only cover song, I mean, those two wrote all the songs except for the final song, which is No Other Love, originally by Sade. So they don't get too wild, too out of hand here. This is a very soothing, relaxing, mellow album. It really is one of those just to kick back and enjoy the breeze and just be.
Yeah.
Last time I played this, my wife and I enjoyed it so much just a couple weeks ago that we played it 3 times in a row because we just wanted to keep the vibe going. So yeah, this is like I say, off Pink's normal style though. She's all over the map for the fans know that, but this is nothing like her normal pop stuff though. You and Me, Rose Avenue.
Yeah, I have that album. It's good. It is quite good.
I believe we discussed that when we did our Pink ranking, if I remember right. It's been a while.
I believe we did. Yeah. It's been a while, Bob. I was going to say Bob. Bill. It's been a while. Got Bob on the brain for some bloody reason. He's at work, guys. No, it's a good choice. And at the time, I was so into Pink. Anything that she released, I bought, and it's quite a change from what she does, right? I mean, but no, it is a good choice. All right, the one and only Tim Bricker.
Moi? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Who?
Once again, I am the time laggard, and I am just barely creeped into the 1990s. And this may be the album that represents the most radical reinvention that a band ever went through. At least that was successful. There's probably been other radical reinventions by bands that just completely, struck out, but this one struck absolute gold. And this is the 1991 release from U2, Achtung Baby. Um, for me, this is just a shot across the bow, that pretty much said, come on, all you guys who don't think we have it to give, let's rumble. And they pretty, this is just an urgent, charging, like unrelenting, pastiche of hooks and audio quirks. And um they got to this place because they were just tired of who they had become. They had been on the road for a year plus doing the Joshua Tree, and then the little mini Rattle and Hum tour. And just like we're so sick of ourselves, we want to do something different. And so you get those four guys, put them in West Germany with Brian Eno and Daniel Lanois, and say, we don't want to sound like anything else that came out on a U2 album before. And holy crap, did that succeed. Um, you know, um, Ken, I'll make the statement. I'd like to get your perspective, knowing what a big U2 fan you are. I remember, up to this time, the U2 sound had clearly evolved. War, Unforgettable Fire, Joshua Tree. You kind of had an expectation of what you were going to get. I know the first time I heard The Fly on the radio, I I was kind of just dumbstruck at the direction that they had turned, and and completely unlike anything I was expecting, but it was just marvelous. From the whispered vocals to the falsetto, gospel-y choir there. I mean, what was your reaction?
Well, it definitely took me by surprise. Um, and the Fly is the perfect example. That might have been the first track I heard off of it too. Um, I thought it was very interesting, but it didn't have the staying power that the earlier albums did for me.
Hmm.
Uh, it seemed to be leaning too far into uh, the disco and the dance hall type of music. I'm just kind of a straight, more rock and roll kind of guy when it comes to that stuff. War was my favorite. It's still my favorite album,
Yeah.
which is the straight rock, um, hard sound. Um, Joshua Tree, I love Joshua Tree, but that was already kind of starting to go walk through that door, and
Hmm.
but but a start. I think the thing about Achtung Baby, it was just played so much where I was at the time. I'm honestly not sure how objective I can be about it because I just kind of got tired of it, just hearing it so much on the radio. And of course, back then, radio is, other than buying an album, was all we had. Um, but everything was just seemed to be saturated by it. So
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think I appreciate the influence that it had and
Hmm.
the smash that it was, and I think that's great. But yeah, that's when they kind of lost me a bit there. I still bought a few
Right.
more albums as they came out,
Hmm.
but my heart's just in their early stuff.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I know for me, a lot of the U2 albums, they can tend to be a little spotty. You'll have like out of a 10 track album, you'll have like seven songs that are great and three just kind of seem like filler. To
Mhm.
me, it seemed like Joshua Tree and Achtung Baby were just, as Armando says, all killer, no filler, all the way across. And
Mhm.
I selected Achtung Baby just because just for that fact that they were able to so radically and successfully, reinvent themselves. And I haven't done any thorough study on it, but I'd imagine this was one of those pivot points in music where a lot of people said, okay, so
I
this
agree.
is how things are going to go now.
Yeah.
And,
And it appealed to a whole new audience.
sure,
So that says a lot right there.
that's true. And then from here, I mean, if you didn't like Octoon Baby, I'm sure that, Zooropa and Pop probably weren't up your alley either. Talk about embracing more of those styles.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's,
not really.
yeah,
Some of the
but
remixes are very interesting though.
sure. Yeah.
If I can
So
just chime in here about Achtung Baby, I think it was a fantastic album. I think that it was an album that they needed to make. Just like, in my opinion, just like Abacab was an album that Genesis needed to make in terms of keeping them relevant. Um, I think the Achtung Baby, it when it came out, it was just a juggernaut, and it was an album that needed to be, because at that point they were becoming, just prior to that, after uh, excuse me, Rattle and Hum, they were becoming a parody of themselves, and they knew it.
Right. Yep.
They knew it. Um, they were not going down well with the American audiences for whatever reason, and they knew that they had to go away, come back with something new, and this just blew the doors wide open. Um, I
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy that worked at A&M Records who distributed. He was an A&R guy at A&M, and he, they distributed Island Records, and he sent me a copy of Octoon Baby, which I still have. And he says this album needed to be done. He's like, it's just a total departure, you know, from. And
Yep.
I hear influences of Bowie with Heroes
Oh, sure.
on this album like, obviously they're working with Eno, but and Daniel Lanois. But I just like, my God, this it was so different, and it
Yeah.
was good. No, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to to cut you off there, Jim.
No, I mean, Bill, any comments since we're going going around the horn? I opened that up.
Actually,
So
my thought while you were talking about them not wanting to sound like themselves was exactly the album Armando mentioned, Abacab, because that's exactly what
yeah,
Genesis
right.
did with Abacab. They didn't want anything that sounded like their previous work. So that's a very apt comparison. I don't know if Abacab was as influential overall, except for maybe more of that drum sound that really came to the fore more on Abacab. And that was obviously huge for the whole decade there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of with Ken on the overall U2 though. I kind of trail off as we leave the 80s.
Hmm.
Good
Okay.
moments here and there, but I
Yeah,
don't feel the need to own any full albums beyond that.
gotcha. Yeah, Octoon Baby is kind of my stopping point as well.
Well, I mean, just to close it out, I mean, with Zooropa for me hasn't aged well over the years, and they basically had their hot space moment with Pop to me. So I mean, yeah, Octung Baby for me was their sort of their pinnacle in terms of coming out with some really good music and reinventing themselves.
Yeah.
Um, all right, ladies and gentlemen, my pick for day 29. Sorry, Jimmy kind of monopolized
Hey, no,
your
that's
thoughts.
fine.
My pick for day 29, we're going to October 24th, 2000 for the release of Night and Day 2 from Joe Jackson. I
cool.
want to thank Bill for recommending this album to me. See, right now for me, he's over here. He's and then down. So, um, my God, I'm lost for words with this album. This was the sequel to the release of Night and Day. That's behind Bill there from '82. Just amazing. It picks up basically the storyline picks up pretty much from where it left off in Night and Day. Um, it's a collection of songs that basically tell the experiences of various people in New York City, right, through their lives. But it does it so well. All the songs are segued into one another. It starts off with a prelude, an instrumental prelude that basically is used as a thread throughout the entire album. And every song is melodic, it's catchy, it's hooky, but it's also very deep and very layered at the same time. And a little side note, I remember playing this in the car for Bob, and he said to me, "What the hell is this? Like, what is this?" And we actually played it 3 times in the car during that one drive because it's not a very long album, but it just takes you through the experiences of various individuals uh, throughout, in New York City. Excuse me. Um, all the songs are great. Hell of a Town, Stranger Than You, Why, and he also uses guest vocalists on this album, which songs such as Why? No, not the Annie Lennox track, although that is fantastic as well. Um, the standout track, although they are fantastic, the standout track for me, I think Bill knows where I'm going with this, is Glamour and Pain. And it's sung from the viewpoint of someone who is basically involved with a married man who has kids, and he's basically told to be quiet about it and being kind of kept in the closet. And and he's like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. I'm not dealing with what you're giving me. I am not, you know, you've got your life. You only come to me when you want your fun on the side, and that's not going to happen. And though you're going to have to help me out here. The individual who does the vocals, uh,
Dale DeVere. This
Dale
is
DeVere,
actually
who is a drag queen,
who
apparently.
is likely Joe Jackson in disguise, but it's never
Yes,
been confirmed.
yes.
But yeah,
Uh,
there's the actual picture of
thank
Dale.
you. Those got the props.
I had this right next to me because when I decided to, even
Yeah.
though Joe's my favorite artist, I decided for arbitrary reasons not to include any. But this was the one I originally had on my list.
Yes, yes.
I
And
was right next to
it's like as with just going back to Glamour and Pain for a second, as the verses continue, the lyrics get more darker and like what he would like to do to him. Like he gets very upset, very angry, very aggressive. Um, but it's delivered exquisitely. The vocals are delivered just so beautifully. And it is so melodic. And then it goes into a song called Dear Mom, where this woman sends her son to New York City to find his sister and find out what is going on with her and bring her back home. But then he's writing her back saying, Dear Mom, I found her. She's fine. By the way, I'm staying too. I'm not coming home. I want to try my life here, and I want to see where I can take what I want to do, in New York. And it's like, it is amazing. The next track is Love Got Lost, which features Marianne Faithfull on vocals. And um Marianne Faithfull, she has a vocal style, the love or hate. I think that she fits this track perfectly. Um and overall, it's an album of life experiences, and it is simply exquisite. It was released through Rycore Records. It came and went without any notice, which is a bloody shame. It's one of those things where when I listened to this album, at first I thought, what the hell? Why did I miss this? And I felt bad that I only getting into it over the past few months, but that is my choice for day 29, Night and Day 2 from Joe Jackson. Please, you can get this on Amazon. You can get this on Discogs. You can stream it on YouTube. Any album that we're talking about, you can stream on YouTube. And again, don't take our word for it. Just listen to them first and see what you think. And if you want to buy them, obviously. But yeah, just to go back to Jim for a sec, I feel bad that we cut you off or I cut you off. Is there anything more you want to add about Achtung Baby? Because that's a hell of an album.
It's perfect. That's why it's on my list. Dang it.
Okay, short and sweet.
Yep.
All right,
Point made.
not a problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. One of our shorter episodes for day 29 of 31 perfect albums. Please put in the comments down below what albums that you think are perfect. Again, doesn't matter what genre. Yes, Taylor Swift is included. I'll say it again. But please let us know what you think of these albums and of our choices. And again, maybe you've discovered something new, right? What have you got to lose? Really nothing. Right? Music is never a loss, or it's never a waste of time, in my opinion. So for Jim, Bill, and Ken, I'm Armando signing off for now. We will be back to you. Sorry, only 2 sips of coffee today. We will be back to you with day 30 of our 31 perfect albums. All right. Have a good day. Look after yourselves, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.